Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Safety Systems. I've told you this before. I'll tell you again because I got another one this week. Everybody's dropping these national ads for security systems into my mailbox. I get tons of this stuff. And I just toss it immediately because I've got a better deal with Safety Systems. Local, local, local. Not only that, but they give you a better contract than you're going to find from any of these big name groups outside of East Tennessee. There is a reason when you walk into 90% of the businesses in Knoxville and around East Tennessee that you're going to see a sign that looks just like that on your screen right now, right on their door. Safety Systems. Call VFL JJ Surlis this week. See what they can do for your business or your home. Safety Systems. Okay. We know that ESPN will be getting their playoff selection show shortly. My guess is they will hubbub around before releasing anything. But if you want to flip over there, I certainly understand it. I would just ask that you flip back because we'll be having instant analysis to everything they do. We're going to have it here, so we'll be able to break it down for you. If you want to stick with us, we'll tell you what's going on over there. But before we get into all that, I wanted to see who you guys would have put in your playoffs. Who do you think the top four teams are? Not necessarily what we said earlier that the committee will do. Who's the top four? How would you seed them? Et cetera, et cetera. I'll start over here. You're the guy that's used to, the coach, the player who's sitting there waiting on Selection Sunday to see what's happening. Now you got all the control. This is probably more fun. Justin Hamilton, how would you line up your playoffs?
I've got Georgia. Where are we at here?
Hold it up just a little bit. There you go.
There we go. There we go. Georgia, Michigan, TCU, Ohio State. I said it earlier. The one loss for Ohio State, they're the bad guy in the movie. You got to kill them because they won't go away.
Yeah.
They just won't go away. And I just think for me this season, the one loss is what makes it for them. And
yeah, if there were another team that had one, if Alabama only had one loss, if Tennessee only had one loss, I don't know that Ohio State's getting in there.
If USC was going to lose to Utah, I wish it would have been in the conference championship game so we could hear how that debate's going right now. The one-loss USC with a one-loss Ohio State that lost in the championship. Mm-hmm. Yeah, if they would have only lost that championship game, what that would have looked like.
I hate to see teams get rewarded for sitting on their couch after a big loss, and I hate to see teams get punished for reaching a conference championship game. It happens. It's the system. That's not going to change, but it is rough to see. Chuck, what would you do?
Well, I actually have my bracket filled out, John. And I've also got some little point spreads on there, too. So there you have it. And I think TCU does deserve to be.
Because I texted you yesterday. You weren't quick to respond, so I wasn't sure about that, what you were going to say.
And here's the thing. People keep talking Sugar Bowl, all night. I know that's another subject. You know, that kicks off at noon.
Yeah.
That kicks off at noon. Tennessee doesn't want to be playing at noon.
Why not? In New Orleans?
In New Orleans,
yeah.
Crazy. I wouldn't get there until halftime.
Well, you're out of the trip then if you're going. So.
I think this is what it's going to be. I really do.
Okay. Here's mine. We may all have the same thing. We may all think the committee is going to be right. I'll hold it up there. I got Georgia 1, Michigan 2, TCU, and Ohio State. And like we said earlier, I'm keeping the Ohio State-Michigan. The only way you're going to get that rematch is if they play their way and earn it. The bad thing is the team that's kind of getting hosed in this, I think, Ohio State, we say, is the least deserving. But they also might have the most athletes. They got better athletes than Michigan or TCU.
It's a talented team. Nobody's debating that.
If I'm Georgia, I don't know that I would like playing Ohio State in that first round. But as they showed yesterday, when you put a good team in front of them, they show up from the get-go. Anybody else, they'll yawn through a first half. But, boy, they show up for the big ones.
Yeah,
Josh.
If Kirby can motivate his team, they'll be ready to go. I'd like to get some Will Overstreet money on the Chucky C note line that's set. So I considered trying to Cavaliers this and leave number 4 vacant because I don't think any team really deserves that 4 spot, but you have to put 4 in. So I'm the same as you: Georgia, Michigan, TCU, and Ohio State.
It's unanimous.
Okay.
I got the same ones.
That's interesting. And I saw something this week that said, and I haven't seen it for today's playoffs, obviously, but the BCS formula, that poll plus that computer would have picked the exact same 4 teams for the playoffs every year so far, which I think is funny.
Wow.
So they went to this committee because no one liked the BCS. Well, the BCS would have probably gotten it right most of these times. It's blowouts in the semifinals every year. I argued last year that what you really need, pick a number 1 team, give them a bye, and let 2 and 3 play each other for the right to play number 1. Because I don't think you ever have 4 that deserve to get in. But the interesting thing is people wanted rid of that BCS computer. So what they do now is they've got a 13-person panel,
Yes.
and they print out a package of 180 computer pages for them. So you didn't get rid of the computers, you just got more computers and handed them to the people to interpret it. All right, here's my question though. Take your where you want them to go out of it. If you're rewarding the best team right now, would you send Alabama to the sugar, Tennessee to the orange? The best team goes to the sugar. Would you send Tennessee to the sugar? Would you send Alabama to the sugar?
Well, by stating the best team right now, I would send Alabama
You think Alabama's better than Tennessee?
because you don't have Hendon Hooker.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that would be my.
That's the playoffs. That's their criteria, so that's the way I'm looking at
Yeah.
it.
Now, if Hendon Hooker were there, I'd send Tennessee. But that wasn't the question.
All right, that's right. I think
Yeah.
Tennessee has the better resume than Alabama, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
I think
But who's
so.
the better team right now is the way they're looking at
Right.
this, I think.
Well,
So who would you send?
Yeah, and what's unfair, there's no opt-out answer. But right now, Bryce Young plays for Alabama, so
Right.
I would send Alabama.
And now you've got your offensive coordinator out too, so would that factor into it? Alabama, who would you send to the sugar?
I would send Tennessee based off the head-to-head criteria that I mentioned earlier. I understand the Joe Milton, Hendon Hooker issue. I don't know how you solve the riddle other than that, because you're just going to create a new level or a new set of questions the next time something like this happens and the quarterback is healthy. You know, that to me is the issue that you run into. But I don't know. I mean, I think if they played right now, Alabama would win the game. So
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at this point.
What's your final answer?
final answer is I would go with the head-to-head. I'd go with the
You'd still
head-to-head
go with
and use
Tennessee.
that. I would
All right.
use that.
I
Chuck.
can't get over with everything that happened at South Carolina, the way in which you lost and losing Hendon Hooker. And I think, and I know a lot of people out there saying we beat Bama head to head, we beat Bama head to head, but your losses were worse than Alabama's losses. And right now, that's just the way it is, unfortunately. But like Jimmy said, if Tennessee had Hendon Hooker, I'd say let's go play.
Your wins were better, your losses were far worse. And there was 2 losses that you weren't in, and one of those was against a team that nobody expected to blow you out like that. Right. So, all right, when we come back, we're going to have instant reaction to what they're doing over on ESPN. So I'll give you 3 minutes to go look over there and then come back at the end of this break. Actually, my clients don't like that. Stay right there. We'll see you on the other side of this break.
Away from home? Watch the Sports Source live at WATE.com.